Let's now shift gears into a much larger conspiracy involving the actors we've just profiled and the institutions that interlock and formed the necessary parts needed to commit unimaginable crimes against humanity. I will show you how agencies of government, compromised individuals, social media companies, companies in the IT marketplace, and the tools they've developed have joined forces in this conspiracy. And we can assume the involvement of Google and Facebook. You don't think they would go to all this trouble only to leave a clear trail leading back to their door, do you? Thankfully, their plan for concealment and government secrecy wasn't enough to prevent people like myself from finding the connections. A Fox News story appeared on the web on April 19th that read, "Many Boston area companies like EMC and Whole Foods Market instructed employees to stay home and have shut down their regional offices." Why is this interesting? Because there are far too many connections between EMC and other actors involved in both the Boston bombing and Sandy Hook events and the tools employed to carry out the events. The first connection is by way of Facebook. Veronique Haller-Posner is friends on Facebook with Sylvie Otten. Sylvie is a New York resident employed as the marketing director at EMC Corporation. U.S. agencies including FEMA, the Department of Homeland Security, and others have been actively building cloud computing systems and continuity programs using EMC-designed systems. Most Americans don't know that almost all agencies of government have outsourced their critical infrastructure to private corporations. Most of these corporations are based in Israel. One of the revelations that resulted from the 9/11 events was that nearly all secure and non-secure communications and data systems are provided by Israeli-based companies. Some of these companies had virtually unrestricted access to the Department of Defense and even the White House. There is much evidence that groups headquartered in Israel and the U.S. have been in full control of the U.S. government through blackmail. Is it that far-fetched to think our highest officials have been acting under threats that their personal crimes would be revealed using these communication records? In 2011, Philip Aldrich, a program director at EMC, gave a presentation to U.S. agencies on cybersecurity. We can assume that these nefarious groups seek to maintain their total awareness of activities by government and citizens in the U.S., and presenting themselves as the leaders in infrastructure security is the means to do it. In this slide, we can see how their goals are easily masked behind the goals of U.S. agencies. They ask, what matters? This is where a legitimate agency would consider their values and solidify their oath to benefit the people of America. Instead, their focus under the circumstances is to maintain their authority by securing data that, if compromised, might reveal the crimes they've been committing all along. They then ask, what's going on? This relates to their ongoing spying on Americans and extending visibility of government activities to the criminal blackmailers violating American privacy rights. Lastly, they ask, how do I address it? This relates to their crunching of the data and the resulting decisions made as part of their ongoing crimes. They compromise individuals, put companies out of business, get ahead of financial transactions that grow their wealth, and take actions to wipe out those who threaten their total control and justice being served. We need to stop picturing zeros and ones and software when we think of cyber warfare. As we learned from Fukushima, cyber warfare can be used to manifest real-world events in the physical realm, in that case made possible by the Stuxnet virus. That might help to open your eyes to how companies like EMC play a critical role in what eventually leads to events like Sandy Hook and the Boston bombing. In April, the EMC blog ran an article touting the use of big data in the investigations following the Boston bombing event. Pay attention to the ongoing use of the phrase big data, as it seems to be a subtle reference to integrated data systems for criminal purposes. Of course, the article implies these tools are needed to thwart crime. A quote from the article reads, "The FBI-led investigation analyzed mountains of cell phone tower call logs, text messages, social media data, photographs, and video surveillance footage to quickly pinpoint the suspects." The EMC article links to an FCW article that does spell out how the deception works, stating, "Because of the secrecy involved in the intelligence community, many of its most innovative technologies are not well understood by the public, and often their uses are not confirmed via official sources." The article identifies the scope of the technology further, stating, "A tool from Topsy Labs, a company that bills itself as having the only full-scale index of this public social web, was used by local and federal officials during the Boston bombing investigation. The Topsy service allows clients to get news from tweeters on the scene, uncover trends in real time, and provides real-time event detection and tracking.